with week 11 in the books, the playoffs are now upon us, and there are some shocking seeds that have been placed as, of course, a major upset influenced one of the brackets, and we'll talk about that and more on the All Sports Pass. Hello, welcome back. My name's Eli. I'm your host for tonight, and first off, I gotta say this. It'll probably be after midnight or maybe even close to morning when most of you are watching this. So let's just say this. Just a little hello to the future. Sorry, I just couldn't resist. But hey, late video is better than never uploading. Yeah. But before we get into this video, you already know I got to start with the verse of the day. And today's verse comes from Hebrews 13:6, and it says, "So we say with confidence, the Lord is my helper. I will not be afraid. What can man do to me?" And before we get in this video, leave a like, subscribe for more high school football content. Without further ado, let's begin. So, of course, first game I'm going to talk about Austin East happening Men's Central. Of course, if you remember the scenarios from last week's episode, which I will put here real quick. Of course, McMinn Central needed a win. They needed Meigs County to win and Sweetwater to win for the seeding, and unfortunately, so really, this really didn't really affect Austin East too much, as Austin East just had a down year. I will say that, but however, they Austin East did get a win this year, and that was against Brainerd, a 21-0 win over them, and then unfortunately just wasn't really able to find really as much momentum into the later part of the season, and their season came to an end with a like following this loss to McMinn Central. But I think that the Roadrunners, I think they'll take a look to see what they can do to improve and how they can get back into playoff contention. And you just never know. It's high school football, and I'm gonna be honest. We're already in playoffs and already can't wait for next season. So yeah, yeah. So unfortunately, this is gonna be the last time you see Austin East on the channel, feature on the channel during this season. Yeah. All right, next one we have an upset. Fulton to South Doyle at Fulton, and Fulton was able to win against the Cherokees and even pulled the upset, as according to On3, they had South Doyle winning this game 35-24. Fulton comes in, wins 34-21, and all I have to say is this: is that for Fulton, they like of course they were able to get their first win of the season over Union County the week prior. They win against South Doyle, finish out season 2-8. Of course, after going 0-8 in the season, they end up just winning their last two games. And all I say is this: of course, they were eliminated from playoff contention with that loss to Alcoa. And with that, of course, the only thing Fulton could have really done was just win some games, and they were able to do that. But of course, just bit of a off year for Fulton, but hey, it'll be right to see what the Falcons can do in the off season, see what they can do to get better next season, and yeah, and yeah, that's all I got for that one. Of course, this is also the last time you will see Fulton featured on the channel this season, and yeah. All right, next one we got is Sevier County and Morristown West, and I'll show you the scenario here. Of course, Morristown West won and Cott County won. Then Morristown West would have been the 3 seed, but unfortunately, that did not happen. So basically, Morristown West, we'll talk about more here in a minute. But Sevier County has really not taken that loss to Grace personal, because they've really taken it personal, because they've just been going they've just been going on a roll, and all I have to say is man. And of course, they were, and of course, following that upset loss, of course, according to On3, they were predicted to beat Grace 44-20, but but Grace just pulled the upset, and then they went out following that, and then they just end up just winning that game. And we'll get more on Sevier County here in a minute, but Morristown Westwell, I'll get more on here into a minute. All right, Clinton at Halls. Of course, this was a critical game not only for Halls but also for West because let me just pull up the scenario here. Knoxville West needed to beat Powell in order to get the 3rd seed, but they also would have needed a Clinton win over Halls to get the 3rd seed. And of course, West lost to Powell, and that's going to get them the 4th seed. They're going to have to travel to Sevier County, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But however, Halls and West, all I gotta say is that I'm sorry, West. I'm sorry. So really, basically, West, I will say that. Oh, sorry, wrong game. There we go. West, I say, cannot be too happy with Halls right now. But hey, they make the playoffs and they're playing Sevier County. Now, this is a tough Sevier County team that they're going to be playing. Of course, West 4-5 into this game. They lose to they get their first win of the season actually against Campbell County. They then lose to Halls after that. Then they basically just went out all the way till they get to Powell, and now they're going to be traveling to Sevier County round 1. And yeah, and sorry, so sorry here. I just got a little talking about West here, but however, for Halls, they'll be traveling up to Tennessee High, and they'll be taking on the Vikings up there. And On3 has Halls with a 28-24 win prediction over Tennessee High. And all I have to say is this should be a pretty good game, which we'll talk about more here in a minute. But yeah, I got a little bit ahead of myself there, but oh well. All right, next one is Karns Central. I'm going to say this. I did not expect this score whatsoever. Karns came in fighting, and they did not back down. And, of course, for Karns to only lose by 1 point when On3 predicted them to win 48-13, man, they really were just trying to win against Central to pull an upset, to make a statement. But unfortunately, I will say this, they made a statement that that they're not going to give up. So that's all I'm going to say about that. And of course, for Karns, it's not going to matter as the Beavers, unfortunately, eliminated from playoff contention like early on in the season. But however, they did get some wins. I guess they did defeat Oh, I'm sorry. There we go. They defeated Campbell County. They defeated Clinton, and they then defeated Morristown East. So basically a 3-win season. But however, the Beavers, they're going to try to it'll be interesting to see what the Beavers can do in the off season, and you can learn more about them on the West channel. Link is in the description down below. And yeah, all right, Carter at Gibbs. This game was really close, and all I have to say is, man, well, I was at this game, and this game went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. To where it was a tie. Like, Carter did not lead at all this game, but Carter kept on coming back. And it took a interception by Camden Beeler for Gibbs to seal the win. And that's just all I got to say about that. And we'll get more on Gibbs and Carter here in a minute. But however, this was a good game, and all I say is this. There were some amazing plays, and one of them I uploaded actually featured Wyatt Shropshire getting a one-handed interception. And hey, if there's any college scouts watching, take notice of this guy. That's just all I got to say on that. And yeah. So, all right. Next one here. This is the upset that nobody expected, that I'm still in shock over. And that is Alcoa at Anderson County. Anderson County pulls off a 31-30 win over the 10-time defending state champion Alcoa Tornadoes. Their first year in 4A. They get their first region loss since 2011. 14 years ago. And sorry I'm speaking up, but this needs to be said. I was just starting school when they ended up getting their last region loss. That is really insane to think about for me. And yeah. However, for Alcoa, they're now the 2nd seed. They're going to be hosting Cherokee. Anderson County, of course, the 1 seed. And we'll talk more about that here in a minute. But this game went down to the wire. Anderson County, of course, getting on the board. And then just Alcoa, just the clock management. Tried to spike it with 1 second left. Unfortunately, did not have any time on the clock. And Anderson County was able to pull off a 31-30 win. They're the 1 seed. They preserved their region championship streak. And yeah. So this game's probably going to be talked about for a long time. And hey, I'm sorry to some of these guys, but to Keith and Seth Sieber on that video, but it looks like we might have had the upset of the season and the decade right here. Yeah, but still, it's still really amazing. And yeah. All right, now we're in the playoffs right now. So first game we're going to cover is Carter at Greenville. This is the 2nd year in a row that Carter will be playing the Green Devils, and the Green Devils, of course, have been getting every opponent, like have been winning handily against every opponent, and their biggest win of the season was a 63-0 win against Sullivan East, and then they end up, I'm sorry, I take that back. No, never mind. Sorry, I did the math wrong. And the most amount of points they scored in the game was 70 points against Granger, and then against Elizabethton, they were able to win 48-7, and it was 48-0 at halftime, and yeah. Their only loss of the season was to Sevier County in a classic game, which was featured on Rivalry Thursday. And hey, I gotta give a shout out to Rivalry Thursday. I met Mark Packer, and I say Mark is probably one of the nicest guys I've ever met, and really knowledgeable about sports. If you want to go check out some classic games, go check out Rivalry Thursday on YouTube. They are amazing. And yeah, so of course Greenville, of course, with the lost 30-27 to Sevier County, and Carter, of course, coming into this season 6-4. And of course, this segment is also presented by Bigs Only. Sorry, I forgot to mention it. Hopefully, next time y'all are featured, hopefully I'll not forget it this time. Eventually, if I keep doing this is going to be a running gag. Yeah, but Carter, of course, defeated Northview Academy. They lost to Grace Christian, defeated Union County, defeated South Doyle, lost to Anderson County, defeated Heritage. They defeated Fulton, defeated Austin East, lost to Alcoa, then lost to Gibbs. And then now we're playing Greenville. On 3 has this game, Greenville winning 49-14. It's going to be one interesting game, to say the least. And also, figured I'd mention this, that the first round games are always the same. Like, they're the same as last year, basically, with the format. But, however, there'll be a new regional. But the second round is when it starts to get different. As compared to last year, for example, Gibbs defeated Cherokee, then they go on to play Greenville for the 3rd year in a row. Now, an example is this, like for Gibbs, when we get up to them here in a minute, I'll explain a little bit more, but basically it'll be in a different region in Region 2, So that's what we're going to describe here. But yeah, so that's just all I'm going to say on that one. And of course, I unfortunately do not have the bracket on me, but I do think, of course, that it is going to be one interesting game. Oh wait, hold on. Let me see if it's actually been released yet. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Just want to take a look. And also, happy Friday, as it just turned midnight here. Yeah, but let's just take a look at. There we go. All right. So the winner of that game will and of course we've already featured an upset. This game's already been played. Some of these games have been played already. The winner of this game will play White County, and of course the winner of Anderson County and Volunteer, which we'll talk about here in a minute, will play Stone Memorial, and then the winner of the Alcoa Cherokee game will be playing Upperman, and then the winner of and then yeah, that's about it. So yeah, it's gonna be one of those games at least, and yeah. All right, next one we got David Crockett at Central, and I will say this that this might be a shocker to y'all, but I am going to this game. I know I've been to Gibbs so much this year, and it's going to be, and I will say that it'll be interesting, but we'll explain why here in a second. But if you remember from like last video, I said Gibbs needed an Alcoa win and a win over Carter to get the second seed. With the Alcoa upset, Gibbs is traveling to Elizabethton, and unfortunately I can't travel to Elizabethton, so I figured why not go to Central? Um, and yeah, but Central, of course, they're 8-2 on the season. David Crockett's coming to town, and Central's predicted to win 42-6. It's going to be one interesting game, to say at least, because hey, we've seen times where the favorite has not won the game, and that's just all I'm going to say about that one. And also, this is presented by Blended by Justice, and this time is presented by Blended by Justice. Sorry, guys, I had to repeat myself there. And thank you for your support, and we'll get more on that in the ad segment. All right, next one we got Halls at Tennessee High, and let's say this: Halls had a pretty slow start to the season, but however, they did end up, of course, rebounding, and they're going to be playing Tennessee High, and Halls was actually 0-3 at one point, and they end up getting the win over William Blount for their first win of the season. Then upset West. They defeat Carnes, and then of course the game against Knoxville Catholic was canceled due to injuries. They lost to Central 38-35, defeat Campbell County 66-13, and defeat Clinton 41-21. And yeah, so that's basically what we're gonna say about that one. And with that, of course, we mentioned a little earlier that Hall's playing Tennessee High. Hall's actually is favored to win 28-24, but it's going to be interesting to see how the Vikings can hold on. Now, Halls, of course, they've proven to not count them out. And so it's going to be one interesting game, and I think it's going to be an amazing game. All right, next one is West at Sevier County. We already talked about this one, of course. Sevier County favored to win. However, West, of course, is able to get it going in the second part of the season to get themselves a playoff spot. And West is actually, this Sevier County ended West's season last year en route to Sevier County State Championship, ending West's hopes for a three-peat. And all I have to say is Sevier County, you might want to watch out because West might try to get revenge on Sevier County for that loss. But Sevier County, of course, they've taken that loss to Grace pretty personal because they've been really, really going at it because they've been winning out and everything. And that's just all I got to say about that one. It should be a good game, and yeah. All right, next one we got is Morristown West at Powell. Of course, Morristown West coming in this season 2-8. Coming in this game 2-8. 3-7. I'm sorry. The teams they defeated are Morristown East. They defeated. Oh, second, guys. Lost my train of thought. Trying to see some here real quick. They defeated Morristown East. defeated Daniel Boone, defeated Cott County, and because of that, they're getting the uh, fourth seed, and they will be going to Powell, where Powell is predicted to win 47-6, and it's going to be one interesting game, and that's all I'm going to say about that one. And yeah, so that's going to be one good game, and if y'all are going, um, I'd expect a really good one. So yeah. Powell, however, only has one loss on the season, and of course the website's going to tell you otherwise. But of course the Anderson County game, of course, not being able to finish, will basically means that the game is a no contest. It didn't happen. So basically, so yeah. So I got one loss on the season. That was to Jefferson County by a score of 27-24. Then Powell just wins out, and they get a 15-3 win over West, and they're the one seed, and yeah. All right, next one we got is Volunteer at Anderson County. Of course, I want to give you a little story real quick. Volunteer actually had not won a game since 2022, and they end up coming into this season with so much steam. They end up they end up getting on a roll, and because of that, they were able to finish this season 7-3. Of course, their three losses were to Elizabethton with a 31-21 loss. They then lost to Greenville 42-7, and then they lost to Cherokee 55-33 in an upset. And all I gotta say is, man, Volunteer, you cannot count them out. So it's gonna be an interesting game to say the least, but you know, but hey, they are Anderson County is predicted to win this game 50-14, but Volunteer, you cannot count them out, and that's just all I'm gonna say about that one. So yeah, it's gonna be one interesting game, and I can't wait to see what happens here. So yeah. All right, time for our game of the week. Gibbs at Elizabethton. This is the first meeting in program history for both these teams, and both teams 8-2. Gibbs only suffering a loss to Alcoa and a upset loss to South Doyle on the season, and Elizabethton losing 36-14 to Science Hill, and then they also lose to Greenville 48-7, and basically On3 projects this to be a pretty close game, as their final score prediction is Elizabethton 28, Gibbs 27. It's going to be one interesting game to say the least. And also, this segment is presented by PJ's Barbershop and Sierra Lynn Photography. Thanks for your continued support. And all I got to say is, man, I cannot wait to see this game now. Unfortunately, I cannot travel to Elizabethton. So I'll be keeping up with it online. So yeah, but however, this is going to be one pretty good game in my opinion. And if you're going to the game, you picked a good one to go to. So yeah. All right, that's all my thoughts. So let's get into the ad segment. And first off, we want to thank PJ's Barbershop, located on 3544 Neal Drive, Suite 101, Knoxville, Tennessee 37918. You can call or text Pam or Jackie by using the numbers on your screen and to book an appointment. And they do an amazing job, and I would recommend them to everybody. So yeah. All right, next one we got is Sierra Lynn Photography. You can DM Sierra at Sierra_343 or SierraLynn.photos on Instagram to schedule a session. And then next one we got is Bigs Only, outdoor apparel brand. Got some outdoor accessories as well. Got some pretty cool stuff. So I'll go check them out. You can go to bigsonly.com. You can also just type in the link on the top left of your screen. And yeah. The last one we got is Blended by Justice. Recently celebrated its 5-year anniversary. Of course, clothing brand. And Justice has got some pretty cool stuff. So I'd go check Blended out. And let's, because he's got some really cool stuff. So yeah. Thank you all for your continued support of All Sports Pass. And of course, and of course, I want to say before we end this, I want to say thank you to the viewer to you, the viewer, for sticking with us through the season. Of course, I'm sorry that I unfortunately had to miss a couple weeks, but y'all stayed patient, and I am just so thankful to have you all as my viewers. It means the world to me, and yeah. And of course, one of the moments that I think I'll never forget is the moment that ASP hit 1,000, and that was made possible by you guys. I'm just so grateful to God that y'all support this channel and everything. And now, of course, we still got playoffs, but however, the thing that we don't really tell about playoffs is that we usually just go until the teams run out. So basically, like last year with Anderson County losing to Macon County, that basically ended the season. So basically, uh, that basically means videos in the playoffs are not guaranteed. So just in case this is the last time, uh, and I'll probably say this on the videos, in case it's the last time for this season, thanks for watching, and good season. And with all that being said, God bless and have a good night.